can the world's smallest robot make a coffee latte for me, or will it flop? Let's find out. So this right here is the MyCobot 280 from Elephant Robotics. So this one features 6 degrees of freedom. Here, one is the base. This is the second joint. This one's the third joint. We have the fourth joint here, fifth joint, and you can see the sixth joint here has infinite rotation. So what makes this a cobot is that you could interact with it when it's moving. But another key feature of this is the Jetson Nano that's part of this robot. So this Jetson Nano has the typical ports here, the display port, HDMI, the 4 USBs, Ethernet, and these GPIO pins. These pins can also relay all the way back here to the end effector here. So if you have anything that you want to output near the end, you could do that as well. But the main thing about the Jetson Nano is it has the AI capabilities because it has GPU power. So if you're running anything like YOLO or any sort of AI models, this Jetson Nano will superpower some of your computation. So that's the main advantage if you were to choose this version over the Raspberry Pi. I would say though, one of the nicest thing about this robot is that it has ROS 2 support already. So if you're doing any sort of simulation, it's pretty much ready to go. You can see in the background here, I have RViz running. So what this allows me to do is you can see when I'm moving the robot around, the exact same thing will happen in simulation. So you can imagine how useful this is, because if you wanted to simulate anything first, you could do that. And then once you verify it in simulation, you could deploy it onto hardware. If you're totally new to robotics or AI, I have a bunch of resources on my YouTube channel as well as my website where I go over things like ROS, OpenCV, computer vision using AI, Python, and C++. So if you want to get started in robotics and AI, make sure to check out kevinwoodrobotics.com. I'll leave a link in the video description. Another nice feature about this robot is that you can see the end effector has these hole pattern here. So this hole pattern actually allows you to easily attach different things. So they offer things like this gripper here. So this one has 1 degree of freedom for opening and closing. You can see they also have a camera that you can use for any sort of computer vision. And you can see that the way it works is it has these pins which you can actually use to just push onto the end effector to snap on. So it's just by press fit, and you can see that once you just push it in, everything's attached, and there's this cable here that you could just insert here on the side for connection. And then for the camera, what we have here is a USB camera, so you could just go ahead and plug that into the back. And we also have a power supply here that we could hook up. So once you power this up, you can see right here the arm is passive, right? But once we power this up, I'm gonna connect the power, and then once I turn it on, it's going to be able to hold the position. So if you give it a few seconds, you see that it lights on, and then when I let go, you can see that it's holding by itself now. So this is ready for operation. You could go ahead and SSH into this, or just connect the keyboard and monitor to this, and you could start operating. So the idea of the project here is we're going to have a cup here. This is a shot glass, but we're going to be using this as our espresso cup. And the main reason I'm using this is because the gripper has a certain size that it can fit. So this right here fits exactly just right. So what this is going to happen is I'm going to put some espresso here, and then we're going to have milk in this cup. So the robot is going to go ahead and pick this up and then pour the espresso in here and then stir it up. So that's the main idea that we're going to go over. So before we actually do anything, the first and most important part is you want to make sure that your robot base is stable. So when I first developed this, you notice that it has a pretty small base. So what I ended up doing was I printed this part here, because if you imagine, I already have this on, but you can imagine if this is fully extended and there wasn't a base and the base wasn't screwed onto anything, then this whole thing might tip over like this. So I went ahead and designed this base plate and printed it. So this is a very good and quick option if you don't want to mount this. So if you don't have access to a 3D printer, you can come here and check out PCBWay. They have a really nice system for you to 3D print parts, especially if you don't have a 3D printer. So just come up here to CNC 3D printing, choose 3D printing. Once you're here, drag and drop your STL part, choose your quantity, material, your color, and process. Go ahead and fill out the other information based on your needs. And finally, just go ahead and come over here to the right, submit your part for review, and it should be ready to go. So the core idea of this project is because this robot has a camera, you could use this camera to find and locate objects. You could run things like YOLO object detection to detect objects. So the idea is you could have this robot look around the environment. So once it looks around, it knows what it sees. And then, for example, once it detects a cup, it knows the location of the cup. And then it could do some depth estimation and post estimation to figure out where the cup is. And then it could find it, grab onto this espresso cup, and then it's gonna go to the other cup here and then finally pour it into this main cup. So that's kind of the main idea. And then the stirring motion, you could maybe have some program to tell it to stir back and forth by controlling several joints. So the key idea here is that the way these robot works is if you have a starting location, right? So let's say the robot is at top and it does some scanning motion. So once it finds the location, the goal is to go from one pose. So the way the robot is described is it typically has a frame. So a frame is described as position and orientation. So it has to figure out both the new position and orientation, as well as it has some starting position and orientation, which is defined by the robot kinematics, which is how all of these joints are defined. So it has 2 points and it has to go from one starting position to a new starting position. So this right here, you could find the pose of this. Because this is circular, the pose of this is a lot easier. You know that the vertical axis could be the z-axis and everything else is going to be orthogonal to that. So for this one, it makes it pretty easy, but you could extend a post estimation idea to a lot of different ways, which I've mentioned on my channel before. You could use things like Oruko markers or do sensorless ways of detecting using pure computer vision methods. So once you figure out where it is, you could go ahead and open it. So the way this gripper works is you could just control it by the amount of open and closure from a number between 0 and 100. So you could just choose, fine tune it to be the exact amount that you need. So once you do that, then you should have that part set up. So some of the key challenges with this project is if you're trying to run YOLO and you have something like the Jetson Nano here, so as we talked about earlier, but the thing with the Jetson Nano is even if you just run a pure YOLO model, your performance could be pretty slow and have a pretty low frame rate. So what you got to do is you need to deploy the model to be optimized for hardware, which I talked about in some of my previous videos. So that's one of the key optimization. And another part is figuring out like how low to go, because if you go too low, you might hit the table because you can see that this part sticks out, right? So it's pretty close. So you got to define some safety limit in terms of how far to go. You could do that using either the kinematics, or if you're using some vision-based method, you could detect the actual depth that you're getting towards. So those are some ways you could get around that, right? So once you do that, some of the ways you could actually teach it how to stir. So naturally, you might, to figure out the actual kinematics of stirring might be hard, but there's ways around it where you could do teach mode, where you could teach the robot to stir. So I just did a simple stir in my demo here, but you can imagine if you did a handheld motion where you could have a special stirring motion, or like even a back and forth or a circular. A fast way to do this would be you could do a teach method where you could teach it certain poses, which you could do for something like the stirring or any sort of other motion. So the type of teaching is commonly used in a lot of industrial type applications. So teaching a robot to perform this way would save a lot of time. All right, I think we're ready to see the demo now. Let's first make our espresso shot. Then we're gonna add some whole milk in our cup. First, it's gonna find the cup with the espresso shot. Did you find it? Can you give me a nod or something? All right, cool. Can you pick it up now? All right, let's try that one more time. All right, can we mix it up a bit? Oh right, I need to give you something to mix with. Let's see how it tastes. Not bad, not bad. You want some coffee too?